The Book of Rachael by Leslie Cannold is totally intriguing. If you know your Bible, you'll find it even more intriguing than I did. Leslie Cannold has been described in Australia as, well, actually designated, I think, officially in Australia, as one of Australia's top 20 public intellectuals. This is her first novel. She's written a lot of non-fiction, a lot of articles, and she writes regularly for Australian newspapers and other newspapers. And she is an ethicist. So very highly regarded as a very clever woman in Australia, and this is her first novel, The Book of Rachael, and it is very bold and daring, depending on your viewpoint about Christianity. Rachael is the younger sister, the very, very clever, very highly intelligent younger sister of the man that we know in our culture as Jesus Christ. Now, he's called in the book Joshua of Nazareth, and Rachael is his sister, Rachael of Nazareth. They have an older brother who is not as clever as them and who is lazy and a bit of a pain, really. Joshua of Nazareth recognises quite early on that his sister Rachael is very clever. Now, we don't actually know if she existed at all. What Leslie Cannold has done is imagine this marvellous life, and she creates the life of the period. Miriame, their mother, who we would know as Mary, mother of Christ, is quite a conventional woman. She believes very strongly in the role of women, and she teaches Rachael that her role in life is to prepare the food for the men and basically to sweep the floors. We have a situation of a very, very clever young woman who is completely denied education until Joshua and his father take the matter into their own hands, and without telling the mother. So without telling Miriame. So they ask Miriame if, instead of coming home for lunch from their carpenter's shop, they run a woodworking business, and of course we know that Christ was a carpenter, they say, instead of coming home for lunch, can Rachael bring our lunch to us to the carpentry shop in a basket? So Rachael then goes every day with a basket of food, and while she is there, Joshua and his father educate her. They teach her to read and write, and they educate her. So she has lessons every lunchtime that her mother has no idea about. Her mother does know about midwife and herbalist woman that Rachael goes and works with. So she learns how to be a midwife. She learns about alternative healing, well, what we would call alternative healing, which then wasn't completely natural healing. She learns about herbs and plants and becomes an expert, really in those times a doctor. So she gradually becomes a highly, highly educated woman. And she meets Joshua's best friend, who is Judah. He's not called in the book Judah of Iscariot. And you think, oh, here's trouble. And of course they form a relationship. Rachael and Judah form a relationship. Joshua goes looking for the woman that we know as Mary Magdalene, because in fact she was his childhood sweetheart. She becomes pregnant, and when they're really quite young, they're probably only teenagers still, and is sent away. He is desperate and goes searching for her, and wanders for many years looking for her, gradually picking up on his way various waifs and strays and dropouts and drunkards and people who become his disciples, and so on. And it follows the whole story of him right through. I don't know my Bible very well. I still got a lot of the references. I think if you know your Bible really well, you'll find it totally and utterly fascinating. Some people might find it offensive. It's a story of an ordinary family and an ordinary man, and the whole thing that gets completely blown out of all proportion, but totally and utterly fascinating, extremely clever, and I highly recommend The Book of Rachael by Leslie Cannold.